Hi, this is Jeff.
And this is Steve.
From the 12A Podcast,
where we talk entertainment and movies.
Under a budget.
Listen to us at 4eyeradio.com.
And now, enjoy our friends on this next podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another radio drama by 12A Productions and released by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. Today's story is Suspense, Back for Christmas, a holiday love story with a murderous twist. Originally released on December 23rd of 1948 and starring Peter Lorre. Christmas cards, holiday movies, and the music of the season all tell us of the love and the romance in the air during the holidays. But there is another side, the pressure, the stress, and all of the people who crawl under our skin, the people who you can tolerate all year, but not today, not with everything else, not with all of the pressures of this season. This year may be the end, or will we be back for Christmas?
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells,
Victor!
Jingle all the way.
Victor!
Yes, my dear?
What on earth are you doing down there in the cellar?
Why, just doing a little digging.
And why, may I ask, have you chosen this day of all days to dig up the cellar floor?
Well, I thought, as the weather has been so damp, this would be a good time to plant the little devil's garden I told you about.
Devil's garden? Whatever dreck is that?
It was my little joke about it. You see, I've managed to get a hold of the spores of several unclassified wild orchids. In their wild state, they grow under damp masses of leaf mold. The Araucanian Indians call them devil flowers because they appear to bloom under the ground.
Oh, well, I'm sure the Araucanian Indians will be very interested if you succeed in growing these ridiculous flowers under the cellar floor. Whom else it will interest, I can't imagine. What's that terrible smell?
That's the leaf mold. It's chemically identical with the earth blanket they grow under in their wild state. I suppose I should line the pit with concrete so to prevent seepage into the foreign soil, but I don't suppose there will be much time for that now. And I do want to get this started before we close the house.
There certainly will not be time for it. Do you realize that we're leaving for our cruise to the States a week from today? And you've made no arrangements whatever. Unless you call digging a hole in the cellar making arrangements. I certainly don't. Devil's garden, indeed. Sometimes I think you're going soft in the head, Victor.
I suppose it is inconsiderate of me. But you see, I've been wanting to try this experiment for a long time, but with my lectures, the seminars at the university, there never seemed to be time.
Well, certainly that isn't time for it now. I suppose you've forgotten that I made an appointment for you at the barber's this afternoon.
Must I shave my beard, Olya?
I thought we've been through that. Of course you must. Only hipsters wear beards in America. Go get your jacket on. Do as I tell you.
Yes, Olya.
And don't forget to take your umbrella. It looks like rain.
Yes, Olya.
Oh, don't look so put upon, Victor. Someone has to plan things in this house, or you'd never even get to the university in time for your lectures, much less make arrangements for a trip to America.
I know, but what about my specimens?
There'll be plenty of time to plant your precious devil's garden when we get home from America. They're not going to be gone forever, you know. We'll be back here for Christmas.
Yes, of course. Back for Christmas. I'd forgotten.
Well, try to remember it. And if you can't do that, just do as I tell you. I've been making the plans in this house for 20 years, and if there's any digging to be done, I'll manage that as well. Do you understand, Victor?
Yes, Olya.
Good. You have just 20 minutes to clean up this mess down here and keep your appointment at the barber's. When you're finished there, I want you to come straight home.
I wanted to stop at Miss Markham's and pick up some books that I'd ordered.
All right. But don't loiter there the whole afternoon, grousing over those old books the way you usually do. Now hurry and clear up this rubbish. Get rid of that smelly stuff. And no more digging, mind you.
Yes, Olya. Yes, Olya. Yes, Olya. How many years has it been since I've been saying that? 10 years? 15? 20? Clear up the rubbish. Yes, Olya. Don't forget your umbrella. Yes, Olya. Do this, do that. Yes, Olya. Yes, Olya. Yes, yes, yes. How much longer can I stand this?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Miss Markham.
Oh, it's Professor Wolenchenko. I hardly recognized you.
You like me better this way?
You look ever so much younger without the beard. 20 years at least.
20 years.
You'd be glad to know those books you ordered finally arrived.
Books?
Phytotomy of Phalloid gametophytes and Coniferous Shrubs of North America. Those are the ones you ordered, aren't
Yes,
they?
yes, thank you. You are so very kind, Miss Markham.
Kind, Professor Wolenchenko?
Well, not many young ladies in bookshops would go out of their way to look up rare old books for an old professor of botany.
Well, you're not old, Professor Wolenchenko. And really, you look... Besides, I adore botany. It's my particular hobby.
Oh, really? You never told me that before, Miss Markham.
I suppose I was afraid to. You were so imposing with a beard and all.
You might just be interested in some specimen of alpine polyanthes that were just sent to me by a friend in Switzerland.
Switzerland? I used to always go there for holidays.
What, you love Switzerland?
Every part of it. The lakes, the mountains, beautiful spring flowers. Especially the flowers.
Oh, it seems like we have so much in common, Miss Markham. I'm sorry we haven't talked before.
I am too. It was all the fault of the beard, it seems.
Miss Markham, forgive me if this sounds foolish, but I feel that shaving off my beard is the most important thing I have done for 20 years.
It is. I mean, I'm sure it is, and I'm ashamed that I've been so distant with you all this time. There were times when I almost spoke up. Times when you came in here tired after a day with your students at my university. You seemed so alone the way I'm alone in the world. I'd like to have asked you to stay a while and talk with me, but some way or another I wound up giving you your change and letting you go on your way.
You say you're all alone in the world?
Since my father died.
What, did you never think of marrying?
My father was a very remarkable man. I never found anyone who seemed to measure up to what he led me to expect of men. And then the cancer came.
Oh, Miss Markham.
It's been so long since anyone's called me by my first name, and I think I want you to. It's Marion.
Marion.
And yours?
Victor.
How long have you been alone, Victor?
Alone?
I knew you were a widower, of course, the first time I saw you.
Oh, a widower.
I can always tell. There's a certain sadness in a man's eyes. A sweet sadness, I think, when he's been married and then...
A widower? I never thought of it in quite that way.
Oh, perhaps I shouldn't be talking like this. But I've often wondered what she must have been like. Your wife, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Not an easy woman to forget. Very strong. Always managing things. The house, my wardrobe, my friends. When we dined at a restaurant, she even ordered my food. She was always managing things. You might say she managed herself to death.
Poor woman. She must have loved you very much, but she needn't have put herself out so. It's plain to see you don't need anything managed for you. You need companionship, I think. Someone sympathetic with your work, but the last thing on earth you need is a manager.
How well you put it. The last thing on earth. It's the first time I thought of it, of course. And suddenly, a whole new world opened up before my eyes. Marion and America, and no more of Olga's planning my life for me. By the time I got home, my mind was working overtime.
Well, at last! You certainly took long enough about it. What are you looking so pleased about?
I don't know. Getting rid of the beard, perhaps. I feel 20 years younger.
You look even smaller. Your face looks triangular or something. I'd forgotten your chin was so weak. But never mind. You can grow it back soon enough. After Christmas. Where are you going?
Down in the cellar. I just bought this electric lantern, and I thought I'd put it away down here.
Now, whatever possessed you to buy a thing like that?
I don't know. I rather like this lantern. It might come in handy. Who knows?
Now, Victor, don't start digging down there again. I've 100 things to do. Putting the house in order before we leave. I want you to carry these boxes upstairs for me.
Yes, Olya.
And if you're going down to the cellar, take this along and stuff it into the
Oh,
furnace.
but this is my old bathrobe. I may need it.
Oh, nonsense. I bought you a new one. Get rid of it. And don't start puttering down there with that devil's garden or whatever you call it.
Oh, I'm through digging, my dear. I think the pit is quite deep enough now for my devil's garden. It would all have to be carefully planned, of course. Just as carefully planned as Olga was planning the trip to America. We both went about our arrangements as the days passed. I spent all the time I could with Marion, and finally she consented. And then it was the last day. The big day. The day of our cruise to America.
Hello? Is this Paul Holt and Sons? It's Mrs. Viktor Bolshenko. Did you receive my package? Good, good. Now, remember, we'll be back for Christmas, and I want this job done without fail. What's that? No, I'm sure he doesn't suspect anything. Send the bill to me in New York, as I instructed you. Addressed in my name, of course. Yes, I've already put them in the mail. You'll get them tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, here you are, Victor. Where have you been?
Backstairs. I dismissed the cleaners.
Dismiss the cleaners? But I've asked some friends of mine into a farewell lunch. Go tell them it's a mistake.
I'm afraid it is too late now. They've packed and gone.
You have messed things up now. How many times have I told you to leave things to me? I make the plans around here.
Yes, Olya.
You'll have to do better than this when I plan the trip home, or we'll never be back for Christmas.
Back for Christmas, back for Christmas. Must you keep saying that?
Well, why not? We are coming back for Christmas, aren't we?
And supposing I was offered a professorship in one of those wealthy American universities.
Oh, nonsense. Americans care nothing for botany.
Luther Burbank was an American.
Oh, that's different. What have you ever done except muck around in the dirt with a lot of roots and tubers?
They asked me to lecture. That means something.
Oh, of course they ask you to lecture. Americans will pay to hear any foreigner deliver a lecture once. Now, there's no use getting yourself in a state about this, Victor. No doubt this extra money will come in handy when we arrive back for Christmas. Precisely. And it's no good you're making a joke of it. Heaven knows where you'd be today if I hadn't got a sense of time.
Yes, my dear Olya.
And as you've been so foolish as to dismiss the cleaners, you may empty the ashtrays and straighten up this room while we are waiting for my guests to arrive. I'm going upstairs to change. Call me when they get here.
Yes, Olya. Yes, Olya. Yes, Olya, for 20 years. Olya, always so right. Thought of everything. Well, not quite everything. There, running her bath now. Safe to call Marion. If Marion were to change her mind now, after all, we haven't known each other very long for this sort of thing. If she had any idea I was not a widower. Yet. Marion, it's Victor, my darling. Nothing's wrong. My plans, they're the same. Unless you've changed? No? All right. We'll meet in New York and be married there. I'll explain why later. You have to trust me. Yes, yes, my darling. Yes.
Victor!
I'm sorry, I can't talk any longer. Yes, I'll meet you in New York, without fail. Until then, my darling.
Victor! Were you talking on the phone just now?
Yes, Olya.
Whoever was it?
It was, Freddie. Freddie Sinclair.
Didn't I hear you say something about meeting somebody in New York?
Why, yes. Old Freddie said he might possibly get over there before we leave. And I said, well, of course we'll meet him there if he did decide to go.
That seems very peculiar. But then, all of your friends are peculiar.
Yes, Olya.
And just look at your jacket. Have you been digging in that cellar again?
Yes, Olya.
Well, there's no need for it. You can't possibly get that devil's garden thing finished. Go change your clothes before the guests arrive.
Yes, Olya.
Never mind. I see somebody coming up the walk now. Go let them in.
Yes, Olya.
Victor?
Yes, my dear.
Look out the window. There's Professor and Mrs. Goodenough. But who's that with them?
Why, it's...
Precisely. It's Freddie Sinclair. Peculiar you should have been talking to him on the phone not 3 minutes ago, and now here he is.
Yes, isn't it? But as you say, Olya, all of my friends are peculiar.
Oh, not half as peculiar as you. Digging in the cellar an hour before we leave for America. Just look at yourself. Now that I think of it...
Yes, Olya.
Oh, never mind. Go let them in.
You were going to ask me something, Olya, about the hole I'm digging in the cellar?
Oh, good heavens. Stop rolling your eyes about that way. One would think you were digging a grave down there instead of a storage bin.
Yes, Olya, yes.
What's that?
I said yes, Olya, yes, Olya, yes, Olya.
Open the door and stop saying yes, Olya.
Oh, I think, my dear, I have said it for the last time. Back for Christmas. Olya was so positive we would be back for Christmas. That last afternoon, pouring tea for a few friends who had come in to say last-minute farewells, she kept repeating it.
Now mind you, Olya, don't let those Americans lure your husband with one of their fat university jobs. We absolutely must have you with us for Christmas.
Oh, he will be back. I promise you.
It's not absolutely certain, of course.
Victor, what do you mean it's not certain? Of course it's certain.
After all, Victor, old boy, I've contracted you to lecture for only 3 months.
Quite right, but then again, of course, anything may happen.
Oh, Victor adores being unpredictable. Now, what other man would decide the very day, mind you, before leaving for America, to dig a great hole in the floor of the cellar?
In the cellar?
Yes, he's going to put some unclassified wild orchids there. A devil's garden, if you please. Sounds mysterious. That's Victor, though. It's really quite simple once you find out what he's up to. Now, take that call he put through to you a few minutes before you arrived, Freddy.
To me?
Well, of course. Victor wanted to surprise me about your plan to meet us in New York next month. Wasn't that why he called? To ask you not to mention it?
But my dear Olya, Victor couldn't possibly have called me within the past hour. I left my phone in the office this morning.
He didn't call you?
How could he? And as far as going to America...
Now, come, Freddy, you may as well own up. Olya has found me out again.
But Victor, old chap, I really don't.
You see what a poor liar Victor makes. He is red as a beet.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself, Professor? Stringing poor Olya along like that? And as for you, Freddy, I'm furious you said nothing to us about going to America.
But look here, old girl, I've been trying to tell everyone here that...
Oh, this game's gone on long enough. Besides, we must start getting ready. It was marvelous of all of you to come in and say goodbye to me. And don't worry about Victor's little jokes. I will bring him back for Christmas. You may rely on it.
They all believed her. For years, she had been promising me for dinner parties, garden parties, committees, and the promises had always been kept. This time, they wouldn't be. I'd seen to that. The housekeepers were gone for good. The farewells all said. I had timed to the minute how long it would take to fill in the hole in the cellar, my devil's garden. Upstairs, in the bedroom, I undressed. I folded my clothes over a chair, and I put on my old bathrobe. Then I opened the door into the bedroom. Olya, have you a moment to spare?
Of course, dear. I'm almost finished.
Then come in here for a moment. There's something rather extraordinary here.
Good heavens, Victor. What are you lounging about in that filthy old bathrobe for? I told you to put it into the furnace.
Oh, I will do it today. Yes, I really will. I promise.
Oh, well, finally. Now, what is it you want to show me?
In the bathroom here. Just look. Who in the world do you suppose dropped a gold chain down the bathroom drain?
Nobody has. Nobody wears such a thing.
Oh, then what is it doing there?
I don't see anything.
Oh, here. I'll hold this flashlight for you. If you lean right over, you can see it shining deep down.
Oh, this is more dreck from you. Just as we're... I don't see it, Victor.
Oh, go on looking, Olya, in just a moment.
Victor, I absolutely refuse to... Victor, what are you doing? Take your hands off my neck!
Oh, I will, Olya, just as soon as I finish the arrangements for my trip to America.
What are you talking about?
You thought you were the only one who could plan things, didn't you, Olya? Well, I've been making some plans of my own this week. In exactly 1 minute and 45 seconds, you will be dead, Olya. You see, I've planned it very accurately.
You'll never get away with it!
I thought you'd say that, Olya, but I will get away with it. You don't mind the smell of the leaf mold down in the cellar when I will take you down there today? Yes, that's where you're going, Olya, into my devil's garden that annoyed you so much. The soil is full of clay. It won't settle much. In a month or so, it won't even look dug up.
Oh, my friends all expect me to be back for Christmas. If they don't hear from me, they'll wonder. And if I don't come back, they'll start asking questions.
Oh, no, they won't. Because you will email them letters, Olya. As you always do, I know your password.
Let me up now.
No, Olya.
It won't work, Victor. You were never any good at planning things.
Oh, but I've changed. I've learned from watching you all of these years.
The lecture people in America, they'll be expecting you to be traveling with your wife.
I will be traveling with my wife, but not my present wife, Olya. Fortunately, they've never met you. I'll just write a few letters home for you, and then fewer, and then fewer, and write letters signed with my own name, always expecting to get back, never quite able to. Keep the house 1 year, and then another, and then another, and they will get used to it. I might even come back alone in a year or two to clean up properly. I'll say you died in America. Nobody will ever suspect that you are lying under the floor in the cellar of this very house.
Victor, it won't work. I'll throw that you dog in the cellar.
Oh, I can assure you, my dear Olya, it will serve its purpose well.
Victor!
I'm sorry, my dear. I've got to get this done on schedule. You have just 5 seconds to say your prayers.
But Victor, you must listen. The cellar is... Don't do it, Victor! Victor!
The water cut off at the main as I knew she would over it. She was so thorough. Well, so was I. A clean blow at the base of the skull. Nothing to wash up. The electric current shut off at 1 o'clock, just as she ordered it. She thought of everything. So did I. My nice new electric lantern, plenty of light to work by in the cellar. The old bathrobe she wanted me to throw away. It's come in handy now, if there should be any chance of bloodstain. And then, in the fire with it afterwards, the last evidence of my devil's garden. It's going well. Still an hour before I have to leave to the boat. The hole is almost finished. Oh, no. No, not now, not now. Go away. Whoever you are, go away. Did I leave the front door unlocked? If it's the Wallingfords... No! Go away! Go away! The door was locked. After that, it was easy. Putting the finishing touches on my devil's garden, dress fast, get out of the house before 6:30, take a cab to Southampton, and board the cruise ship for America, all going to plan. Olya's plan. Oh, Stuart!
Yes, sir. Yes.
My wife is indisposed. She'll be taking her meals in our stateroom.
For the entire voyage?
Yes, for the whole voyage.
Oh, hello. I trust your wife is feeling better this morning, Professor Boloshenko?
Oh, a little. Not yet well enough to leave her cabin.
Oh, well, I'm terribly sorry. Please, let me know if there's anything I can do.
Oh, thank you, but she just needs to rest. Later that night, I reread my outgoing emails that I had sent through Olya's account to her friends. Wait, did I make a mistake? This can't be right. For a moment, I had a feeling that Olya had been leaning over my shoulder again, correcting what I had written, as she always did. I had written an email to Professor Goodenough and his wife. Haven't been out of my cabin for the whole beastly trip. Victor well, doubt we'll be back for Christmas. But the copy read, No doubt we'll be back for Christmas. Exactly what Olya would have written. But the end of the voyage was uneventful, and Marion and I met in New York just as we had planned. Just as we had planned. Professor and Mrs. Boloshenko. We have reservations, I believe.
Oh, yes. We've been expecting you, sir. Bellhop, take Professor and Mrs. Boloshenko's luggage up to their suite. You know, Mrs. Boloshenko, you're quite a surprise. Your letter reserving the rooms was so thorough. I was expecting an older, more forbidding sort of person, frankly, ma'am.
No, as a matter of fact, we're just married. But my letter reserving the rooms?
I wrote the letter, my dear, and signed it Mrs. Boloshenko, just as a joke.
Oh, what a cunning old fox you are, Victor.
Oh, now that I think of it, I am. Rather.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's a letter for you, Mrs. Boloshenko.
Well, that's peculiar. I wonder who on earth...
Oh, we shall find out in good time. Come along, my dear. We're keeping the bellhop waiting. Nothing like a cold, brisk shower to put a man to rights.
Victor, this letter...
Oh, yes, the letter. Hey, dry my hair, would you, my dear?
It seems to be a bill of some sort, from a building contractor in Salisbury.
Would you dry my hair?
Dry your own hair.
Oh, thank you, my sweet. Well, let's see this bill, or whatever it is.
It's very puzzling, Victor. You were a widower, weren't you? I mean, Olya isn't still alive?
Oh, good heavens, no. Oh, let's have that. Yes. Dear Madam, that's a good one. Huh? This is to acknowledge your order, together with the keys to your house in Lanston Place. Our men had no difficulty in finding the place where your husband had begun the excavation in the cellar, but apparently he changed his mind at the last moment and filled it in again.
What is it, Victor?
Our men will begin digging tomorrow. And you may rest assured that it will be a professional job and will be completed in ample time for your surprise Christmas present to your husband. We are happy to be conspirators with you in this thoughtful gesture and hope that Professor Boloshenko will be pleased at the results of our work that he so quaintly calls his Devil's Garden. Very truly yours, Paul Holt and Sons Contractors.
What does it mean, Victor?
It means Olya was right. I will be back for Christmas. Back for Christmas. Back for Christmas. Back for Christmas. Back for Christmas.
Today's show was produced by 12A Productions. For more information on us or to see more of our work, visit 12aproductions.com or find us on Facebook and Twitter. To hear more podcasts about movies, video games, entertainment, and pop culture, visit 4eyeradio.com or look us up on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Thank you for listening. More old-time radio coming soon from 12A Productions.
This has been another great presentation by the 4eyed Radio Network. You can find more information at 4eyeradio.com.